I remember it was winter, and I was living with my flatmate at the time. I had just finished work, and I had a message from one of my other friends saying, "I'm at your house. See you soon." I quickly sprinted home from work, and everyone was there. There was about 8 of us in total. We decided to go on an adventure, a spooky one, because on this night we were expecting a lunar eclipse to pass over. So a spooky adventure was a perfect thing to go and do. We went to 2 different locations. The first one was the old abandoned theme park called Fantasy Glades. The theme park used to be a huge tourist attraction back over 30 years ago. Why they closed it down, someone knows, but they never did anything with the land. It was still vacant. It was overgrown with bush, and there were still parts of the theme park still there in their original places, just not in working order and severely decayed. What happened to the rest of the buildings? They were relocated to a property out near my parents' house. There was a property out near my parents' house where some of the buildings were relocated to. There were even rumours of the theme park reopening in the future. Only time would tell. We looked around at what had been left there, and we were all surprised that they still hadn't done anything with the rest of the park. We seen the old chapel and decided to go look inside. There was someone in there, and they started yelling out, telling us to leave. Who said that? I don't know, I think someone's in there. Sure enough, there was a homeless guy in there. This put us off being there, so we decided to vacate out of there. The eclipse was now in full swing. The moon was a deep rusty red. It was that dull we couldn't see much of where we were going. All of a sudden we heard yelling again from a distance. 2 of the group were trailing behind, and the homeless guy was yelling at them. "Come on guys, hurry up." We finally got back to the gate where we went in, and we waited for everyone to catch up. The 2 trailing behind came out running. "Okay, we better go, hey?" Next thing, another voice calls from the other direction. "Hey, you can't go in there, that's private property." It was a resident from across the street. The man didn't seem very happy. We all got in our cars and we left. We all went to McDonald's and got something to eat before going to our next location. The other location was called the Innes Ruins. It's heritage listed, and apparently it was a luxury house built in the early 1800s. 2 generations lived there until it became deserted, and then, just before the 1900s, a massive fire swept through and burned it to the ground, which the ruins are what remains there today. In today's day though, it's not so off limits like it was on this night. We were technically not allowed to go in there, but we still did. It was around 9:30 p.m. at night, so I thought that we were pretty safe. From the end of the road, where the locked gate was, to the ruins, was a pretty long walk. I think it took us about 45 minutes to walk to the ruins, and it was still pretty dark, as the eclipse hadn't finished passing over yet. We finally arrived, and there was a random picnic table there, so we all sat down. After resting for about 10 minutes, we decided to go and look at the ruins. There really wasn't much to see, until I stumbled onto an old well that was there. I shone my flashlight down into it to look inside. It was quite deep, so much so you couldn't see the bottom, but you could see some sort of mist rising up from the depths of the well, which looked quite spooky. After looking around at the walls that still stood and the old bricks that had fallen, it was time to head back. There really wasn't much to see here. We started walking back, and then all of a sudden we all hear a loud high-pitched growl or a low-pitched scream that sounded very close by. What the hell was that? I have no idea, but let's get out of here. We all started to run. We didn't know what we were running from, but we were running. We heard the noise again. We ran faster. We didn't look back until we heard the noise again, but it sounded further away now, so we all slowed down to a walking pace, trying to catch our breath. All that running cut out about 10 minutes of the walk, because soon enough we could see the gate and we could see our cars in front of us now. We all jumped the gate, and before we all left to go our separate ways, we discussed what we all had just heard. One of the group said it most likely would have been a wild boar or something. We all agreed, and just as the adventure wrapped up, so did the lunar eclipse. Everything was shining normally by the full moon again, although the moonlight could have helped earlier though.